Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Well, I promised I'd come back and just come up with a few ideas to get you started if you'd like to join in with our great big little art swap, but you're not sure where to start. Because this is open to everybody, whatever stage you're at in your art journey. If you're a beginner or if you've been making art for years, it's open to everyone. Nobody's expecting to get a masterpiece. We're just making little 4-inch squares, just a little piece of whatever makes you happy, whatever makes your heart sing. It could just be something as simple as a little bit of a colouring in, a bit of doodling, I've got all sorts of ideas that I've jotted down, and I just thought I'll do a few just to get you going if you're not sure where to start. Lots of people out there will be already very confident and very experienced and know exactly what they'd like to do. But if not, here's a few ideas. So, because I don't want anyone feeling too intimidated to join in. That's not what this is about at all. The idea, what we're all about in this wonderful community that we're celebrating, that was the whole idea behind this, and the Stitchery Swap. If you like me, you're into both. Check out the Stitchery Swap as well if you haven't seen it. I can't take any more swaps this time around, but there are lots of people still looking for swaps, I believe, so I'll link to that as well. Lost my thread now. Yeah, so the whole idea behind this was to celebrate the friendships that we're forming all over the world through the internet, through YouTube. We've got our Discord community is really flourishing, and the Facebook group is still going as well. And it's these wonderful hobbies of ours, the stitching or the art or whatever creative hobbies you like to do, that it really it's brought together this whole tribe of like-minded people, and I just think it's such a lovely way to celebrate that. And what I'm going to do is end up with a little book full of my Stitchery swaps and a book full of my arty swaps, and it will just be just little pieces of all those people that I've connected with online, not in a serial killer way. I've got little pieces of people in a book. Just realised what that sounds like. Anyway, I'm waffling way more than I intended to. I'm going to do a whole series of short little videos just giving you an idea of the kind of thing you might like to try if you're not sure where to get started. This is the first one, so I'm waffling on a bit more, but future ones it's only going to be like a 10-minute video, just giving you an idea. I'm not going to be doing full tutorials. I haven't got the time because I've got 45 stitch squares to make and I haven't even counted up how many art swaps yet, so these are going to be short and sweet. Okay, so first one, let's go to the desk. It's morning, I've got my coffee. Now this is a background I started making during the live the other night. I did one on fabric and I did this one on obviously paper. This is mixed media paper, I believe. I haven't got the cover anymore. I used brushos, which are a powder that you sprinkle and then activate with water, and I also used Cosmic Shimmer's version, which is called Pixie powders. You just sprinkle them on, they look a bit uninspiring, and then when you spritz some water they just and so I've done this just to show that this isn't art. This didn't take any skill or talent to do this at all. I just played with stuff. I just play like a kid with stuff. I'm sure there will be lots of people in the swap who are excellent at drawing and painting and things, and I'm really not. I'm not just saying that to be falsely modest or something. I'm not. I'm quite brave about it. I will have a go at anything, but I just play, and I'm lucky enough to have the space to play and a lot of supplies to play with. So again, you are a little bit limited by what you've got available to you, but whatever you've got, even if you've only got a black pen, you can join in with this challenge, and I've got some ideas for that later. Not today. So this is just as it came out, literally sprinkle sprinkle, squirt squirt, and let's see what happens. And I was going to let this layer dry and then come back and fill in some more of the areas, but I haven't done that. I haven't made time to do that. I'm going to use it as it is, and sometimes it's good just to leave some white space. So what I'm going to do is take this whole piece, because what we're doing for the art swap is 4-inch squares with 4-inch squares with a 3/8 inch border around them, or I'm going to be working centimetres, 10 centimetre squares with a 1 centimetre border around. So I'm going to cut this because I think this paper will cut pretty nicely into 10 centimetre squares, and then I will mount them on another piece of paper to give me the border before I send them away. If that makes sense. So what I'm going to do now is use my guillotine. You could use, you know, just a ruler and a pencil and a pair of scissors if that's all you've got, and just cut this up into squares that I can then doodle on. So today my idea is going to be doodling on a random background. Whatever you've got that you can make random shapes with to doodle onto. I'll tell you what does work really well if you've got nothing to do colourful things with, is make a really strong cup of coffee or a really brewed, leave a cup of tea to stew for ages, and try that. Especially if you let it dry and then put some more on later and you get layers of it. That can look really amazing. I've seen people do some lovely stuff with tea and coffee doodling. Right, let's just... Okay, I'm going to do this off camera now. I'm just going to cut this up. There's no need for you to watch me cutting things up with guillotine. So that was an A3 size pad, and I found that my squares were just shy of 10 centimetres or 4 inches, only just less than a millimetre in it, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna worry about that. I don't think there's going to be any art swap police coming out and telling me off because my my squares are very fractionally smaller than 10 centimetres. So well, let me just get a... So what I will end up doing once I've finished with my pieces, I will cut some bigger squares, probably of not my best mixed media paper because that's more expensive. I'll just use white card, and I will cut bigger squares of them, giving me an extra centimetre all the way round, and mount my finished pieces on the squares like that with just double-sided tape or Pritt stick or something. But we'll come to that later. So let's have a look. How did these turn out? So that's the thing, you know, you do this big mess on a piece of paper and it doesn't look much. Once you cut them up and start to see them as individual little backgrounds, you know, suddenly you see things in a different way. And one thing that some people are really good at doing, I'm not so good, I always think I'm going to be able to do it, and I'm not so good at it in practice, but it's just to take shapes like that and just doodle into them, you know, just draw lines between them, just draw little, you know, just doodle into it with black and white pens or just black pens. Here was something I decided to show you. So these are things where in the past where I've done just splashed paint around. I think this was when we had these acrylic inks. I haven't got them handy. Yeah, here they are. They were little acrylic inks. Liquid acrylics, I think they were called, that we got in a schooler box one time, and I think that's what these were. And I just splashed them around, just experimenting with them. And then I got black paint and I just tore holes out and things. You could tear holes in your squares, actually, yeah. And then I doodled on it with paint pens and things, you know. I don't know, I just played. You could definitely do it. It could just be completely abstract. So this idea of just like doodling into the shapes that you have is quite fun. Yeah, so this might have been the acrylic inks one. I think it probably was. Just let them do whatever they wanted to do, and then just went back in afterwards and elaborated on the shapes that were kind of just there by accident. So, but I wanted to come up with some really simple ideas, just to kickstart this. Which one should we pick? I don't know. So just doodling over the top, and there are so many different ways you could doodle. You could literally just doodle, just do whatever. With different coloured pens, or just a black pen, or black and white pens, whatever. Sometimes I quite like to do a black and white striped frame around things. That's quite fun to do, sets it off really nicely. When you if you're going to do like I'm doing and do a piece and then mount it onto something, instead of mounting it onto the white card, you could mount it onto black card or a different colour or something, couldn't you, I guess? We've only said that it just needs to be a border, so the border could be whatever colour you like that you think will set it off nicely. I suppose a black one might be nice with some of these. 2 or 3 different ideas to show you, just for, you know, there's I mean, doodling has no limits really. It's just doodling, isn't it? But I thought I would try a Zentangle one, and a neurographic art one, something I've done a lot of times before, and also I saw Lizzie Brewer the other day of Scrapping Lizzie. I'll link to her. She's doing a circle book, and she was just doodling with circles, just concentrating on circles and different ways of filling them in. So I might try a bit of that in a minute as well. So I'm just going to, one thing I wanted to show you before I get stuck in. If you haven't done Zentangle before, or even if you have and you've not come across this, I just thought this is such a brilliant site, and I joined up years ago. Let me show you. So it's this site called tanglepatterns.com, and you can go in and use it free, and it's brilliant. It's such a massive resource. Oh, I've never tried that before. That looks interesting. There's all kinds, and it takes you through step by step how to do. So if you wanted to draw, say I wanted to draw tadpoles, this is what you do first. This is the next step. This is the step after that. You can see that each new step is done in red, and that's the final effect. And there's just thousands of them here. Now, I subscribed to this years ago. I think it cost me £10. I paid with PayPal. I don't know if it's gone up. I mean, maybe it will have gone up a bit, but my goodness me, I've had my money's worth. Yes, I can access all of this for free, but what I get for my membership is they send you through a kind of an ebook thing, and then they just keeps getting automatically updated, and then they just keep sending me in my inbox. There are literally hundreds each day. They send me a new tangle to try, and I just think it's well worth supporting them if it's only like still a tenner or something. But as I say, you can use it if you just want to put a toe in the water. You can just use this site and find a Zentangle, a tangle that appeals to you. So what I will do first is a string, and they give you all sorts of ideas for strings. You can click on string there, and it gives you different. So the string is the initial scribble that you make, and then you fill the shapes in with different tangles. So I'm going to do that in a minute. And the circles one from Lizzie's idea, and what else did I say? And the neurographic art. So I'm going to go quiet now and just play a bit of music and just show you what I'm doing for this first idea. I really wanted to keep this much shorter than this is looking already. So subsequent videos to this, I will just go, hello, here's idea number 2. And go straight, and so they won't all be as long as this. I just needed to explain myself on this first one. And by the way, I have kept the piece I cut off that sketchbook paper, because I think that will come in for one of my other ideas later. Collage. Okay, going quiet now. What I've been doing here so far is I just started off with my couple of scribbled lines. The only rule is to start at one edge and go off at another edge. Don't leave any line dangling in the middle. And then wherever your lines intersect and you get these kind of sharp angles, you just round them off. Because I've deliberately made myself use quite a chunky pen, relatively chunky, it's stopping me from getting too finicky, so that my lines have to be quite nice and bold and make a statement. To be honest, with the number of squares I'm going to end up swapping for this and the Stitchery one, I haven't got time to be finicky. Just going to have a bit of fun with it. So where I've ended up, like there, I kind of made a bloop there, made it fatter than I wanted to, so that's okay. I'll just smooth out the line, make the whole thing a bit fatter, make it look like I did that on purpose. This isn't really neurographic art proper, it's just kind of starting point really. At this point you're not supposed to be thinking too hard about it, you're just following kind of the randomness that you created in that first stage, and then gradually you sort of take control of it a little bit, add bits in so that it's pleasing to your eye. It's a good example of, it doesn't have to be technically difficult. You don't have to be a great artist to do this. There we go, so that's that first stage completed. And then the idea is that you can put in another line, perhaps go top to bottom this time, another couple of lines to add interest into areas you think need it, or you can just put a couple of shapes, and I always like to do circles because it's easy to find something to draw around. Or you could do a heart shape or something, or a triangle. You could put whatever shape you want in there. So normally if I'm working on a big piece, I'd do some more top to bottom lines, I think, but this could get a bit overwhelming in a small piece. So I think I'm going to go for drawing around something, a couple of shapes now. Let's see, what size do I want? So this is where symbolically now I'm sort of taking control of the situation and making it look a way that is pleasing to me. And it's all part of the process of this. If you're doing proper neurographic art, you're working through issues in your mind that you want to think through or come to terms with or whatever. So I'm going to follow the same process now, just rounding off those lines where the shapes meet. There we go, so there's my little tangle so far. I'm feeling like either I'll think about putting it on a black piece, or I might just get a really fat pen now and just draw a border around it. So if you just run it along the edge, it just gives it a little border. Like I say, sometimes I like to do a little black and white striped border. That looks quite fun as well, but that'll just set it off against the white. So if I then mount it on a little piece of white, a little square of white, that'll set it off. Yeah. Another thing you can do then is you can draw some little patterns into some of the shapes, either carry on in the black, or you could use some white or different paint pens. I think I might get my paint pens out. So then I'll just make little random marks really. In the shapes that I've created. Or I might take a colour pencil and shade in, or paint, you know. I've done a longer video just about neurographic doodling and showed some of the things that I do to fill in some of the shapes and things, so I will link to that as well. So this is a little ink tense pencil. Now I think these brushes and cosmic shimmers that I've put down will stay permanent when I get them wet. We'll soon find out. So say I wanted to add some colour, where shall I go? So I wanted to add some colour here. I could just use coloured pencils like that and colour in the different sections. Perhaps blend them out, whatever. Or you could do it with, if you like alcohol markers, you could do it with that instead, but obviously you need to be careful that they work with whatever black pen you've used. Like if you've got Copics, you need a Copic friendly marker, don't you, for instance. Okay, and then I would just get my little brush and some water, and I could activate that ink tense. Love ink tense. Just to fill in that area. Now see, I feel like I want more over here now. But yeah, I will do a little bit more of that just to finish it off, and then I will do a little initial in the corner, and then once I've mounted it on my finished piece, mount it on my bigger piece to give myself that 1 centimetre border, and on the back it's really important that you write your name so the person knows who's sent it, because especially if they've got a lot of swaps they won't necessarily know. And I would say I'll put my name there, and I would put any other kind of usernames that you're known by on social media, because when you've been arranging your swaps people might know you more by your usernames, so you can include all that as well if you want to. But yeah, so that's where that was going. I'll do a little bit more work on that and I'll come back and show you at the end. And then the next one It's going to be Lizzie's circles, I think. I'll try a different pen just for the sake of it, since I have got all these pens. I think she did, yeah, I think she did it in pencil first, which is probably a good idea. Right, and then what Lizzie did was just find different ways of doodling a circle. So I've just, I don't know if you can see there, yeah. So I think I think you've seen enough of that to say where I'm going with it. It is just doodling. Is it art? I don't know. I think it's art enough for the great big little swap. I'm going to carry on working on it, and I'll probably do a line around the same as I did there, and then mount it. And I'll probably with both of them, I'll decide which way up they are, and then do a little initial there. And I think this one wants a bit of contrast. It wants a bit of complementary colour, just a pop of bright pink or something like that. I'll see where I'm going with it. So the other one was the Zentangle, so I'm going to do one example of that just to kind of show you where I'm going with it. Which one should we do this time? So with the Zentangle, I just want to do normally you would, the first step is to draw you take your tile and then you draw your frame, but I think I'm just gonna, shall I fill the frame? Because it's going to be mounted as well. Yeah, no, I'm not going to worry about drawing my initial frame. I'm just going to go straight in and do my thread, which is the kind of scribble you do first to create the areas to fill in. Missed a bit there. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in these areas with different tangles. So this one, I wasn't planning to do this. I just got this from that tangle.com site. It's not strictly speaking a tangle because it can't be broken down into repeatable components in the same way as a Zentangle. This is more of a pattern than a tangle, but I love it, and it made it very easy to do this kind of a Celtic knot pattern, and I would definitely play with this idea again. And it reminded me of another one I used to love doing, which I'm going to quickly do now. I've decided I don't like the string that I've done there very much. It's left me a shape I don't like here to fill, so I'm going to have a bit of a play with that off camera I'm just going to fill it in with the Zentangle shades, but I just wanted to show you this one because it's a shape I used to love to do all the time. Let's see if I can still remember how to do it. So the idea is you start off with a 5-pointed star. Any 5-pointed shape I think will work. It's not particularly even or anything, doesn't matter. And then you start from one of these points. I'm just going to join up, oops, I'm going to do it so you can see it, join up from here to the next point. And then I'm going to kind of echo that line all the way down here. I'm not doing this very carefully, I do find it difficult doing it arm's length on the camera. And then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and I'm going to do the same thing here. So join up that point to that point. But I always, where I've already made a line, I don't go over it, I always go under any line that I've already made. So now I'm going to join up I'm going to echo the line there. Going underneath those lines I've already made. All the way down to here. Turn it again. Join up there to there. Echo the line, again going underneath any lines that I've already made. I used to doodle this when I was on the phone or stuck in a meeting at work. Because you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. That's the thing about Zentangle. It's just very soothing. I did some of these really nicely. Rather than arm's length at the camera. One day I'll have a proper camera arrangement that works better, but hey ho, this is what we've got to work with at the moment. Then one of these might be quite nice to do as my swap. One of my swaps. 90 degrees again. So now I'm back to this is the first line I made. So now I'm going to echo the line again, starting here and making sure I don't go over any lines I've already made. And take it all the way down again. Stop in there, 90 degrees. Follow that line all the way down. And I'm back to that first one. You can see that first unbroken line there. So I'm back to the first one. Now at this shape, at this stage, you can bring in another shape and do it. Obviously, don't go over the lines again. Make it kind of behind this one. And then the two shapes kind of tangle together as you go, but I'm going to keep it simple for this. It gets really quite addictive to do. I remember covering whole notebooks with these things. On that one. So you see, it is just a doodle, but because we're putting it in a little frame and we're putting our little signature on it, I think we can call it art. So yeah, it needs some work, but you can see where I'm coming from. I'm gonna work on that one a bit more and come back and show you later. Let's see if I can just at least fill one of these spaces with a proper tangle. Okay, so this one was again inspired by the tangle.com website. It's called Faux Weave, and you create it in this sort of continual circle. It's actually really, really easy to do. I did it quite roughly and quickly because I'm running out of time now, but you can see how you can expand on it and change it and make it more striking. I love the black and white against the yellow. I think it's really nice, and definitely it's just making me feel like Zentangle is something I want to explore more anyway, and it probably lend itself quite well to these small squares. So I'm thinking I might be doing quite a bit of Zentangle for my art pieces, but I will try and do a better job than I've done sitting here trying to quickly show you on camera. So with this one again, I would just end up going around the outside. And mounting it on basically a 12 centimetre square. So if you're doing a 10 centimetre square, you want a centimetre border all around the outside, you want to mount it on a 12 centimetre square just to set it off. But I will use a cheaper white card just to mount it on rather than my nice watercolour paper or whatever. So I'm going to have a little bit of a tinker with these, finish them off and put some photos on at the end. I think it's the best thing, or I'll put them in the Facebook group and Discord. This is just really to give you some idea of if you'd like to join in with the Great Big Little Art Swap. You think you're not an artist, you see, it doesn't have to stop you. Neither am I. I think you'd like to have a go, but you're feeling a bit, go for it. Go for it. I challenge you. I'll be back again tomorrow. I think I'm going to have a dabble with watercolour tomorrow, and it will be a lot shorter and sweeter tomorrow, I promise. I'm going to try and come up with a different little video for every day of this week, just to give you some ideas, just to kickstart you. If anyone else has got any ideas to get people started, please do feel free to share them in the comments or in the Arty Farty Annie group on Facebook or in our Discord community. I will leave my link tree in the description box of this video so you can find those places, and that's also where you can go to find swapsters. If you'd like to find somebody to swap a little piece of art with, you can just swap with one person or swap with lots of people. It's totally up to you. Okay, considering I was going to make this a 10-minute video, I think I've gone on for quite long enough. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found that interesting, and I will see you again really, really soon, like tomorrow.